But joining us now is Kentucky Republican Senator Rand Paul. Senator, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Wolf.
As you know, the president said today that members on both sides of the aisle in the Senate, in the House, Republicans and Democrats, they will eventually thank him because both parties, he says, have lost confidence in the FBI director, now the former director, James Comey. Had you lost confidence in him?
Yeah, and I think it's true that both sides of the aisle had because, you know, Democrats felt like he went too far in insinuating that Hillary Clinton was guilty, and Republicans felt like he didn't go far enough in indicting her. So it's like he had Republicans and Democrats lost confidence in him. And I think universally people thought that the Clinton email investigation got politicized. Normally, the FBI doesn't come forward and have all these public discussions. And really, she was convicted basically in public, even though she was never indicted. Now, you could argue that if everything he said about her was true, she should have been indicted, but it served to please no one. And it did happen right in the height of a presidential campaign. So I think really, you know, Harry Reid said that he should resign. Chuck Schumer said he lost confidence in him. Even Eric Holder said that he defied most of the traditions of the Department of Justice. So I think a lot of people on both sides lost confidence, myself included.
Well, what do you say to the critics who talk about now the timing of the firing, that it comes in the wake of the latest reports, including from CNN, among others, that just the other day he was asking for more resources, more money to help the FBI in this Russia investigation. The Department of Justice, the spokesperson there, denying those reports, but that he wanted more resources to get involved in this investigation. Then all of a sudden, the president fires him.
Yeah, all I know is what the Department of Justice says, and you can say they're dishonest, but they're saying that that never occurred and is not accurate. So I think we have to at least listen to what the people are saying or involved. But I would say that there are a lot of reasons why we should get new direction at the FBI. For a long time, I thought that our investigations and try to prevention of terrorism hadn't gone so well. The killer in Orlando was known to the FBI and was reported to a gun shop weeks in advance, and I think the FBI didn't do an adequate job. And so there's a lot of evidence that I think we need a new direction, but we've never had a scandal in the middle of a presidential election where the FBI director comes forward and says, you know, I think she's guilty, but I'm not going to indict her, and lays out 15 minutes of why she's guilty in so many fronts, and then doesn't indict her.
But you remember,
we just never had anything like that in our history.
You remember all the statements that the then candidate Donald Trump made around that time, praising Comey for what he was doing, praising his statements about the Hillary Clinton investigation, and he continued that for a while. If he was going to fire the guy, why didn't he just simply do it on the day he became president on January 20th?
I think the same people that criticize him now would have also said, well, he didn't go through any deliberative process. And really, technically, the FBI director works for the assistant attorney general who works for the attorney general. So the Department of Justice oversees the FBI. And I think it took a long time, mainly because Democrats opposed approving these people, that when they finally got approved, they did go through a deliberative process and said, you know, this is probably the most politicized investigation ever. And I think it is kind of crocodile tears now for the Democrats. They've been haranguing and saying he cost them the election. They've been calling for his head for months. And then when it finally happens, they're like all holier than thou, and this is Watergate. That's ridiculous.
Do you believe there should be an independent investigation now, given the uproar that has developed over this whole issue?
Yeah. I think a lot of the uproar is concocted and still sour grapes over losing the election. I would say that when someone comes forward with some evidence that a crime's been committed, I don't even know of anybody who's been accused of a crime. But they are investigating it. I think we have 5 or 6 committees. I think the FBI is investigating it. Now, just because you change the head of the FBI doesn't mean everybody else at the FBI just goes on vacation and we're no longer investigating things. I think all the investigations continue. In fact, I would be shocked if someone at the FBI said tomorrow, oh, because the head is gone, we're no longer investigating this thing. No, it will be investigated. I don't know any of the details. So if facts come out that somebody committed a crime, that's a different story and we can address it. But right now it's mostly political innuendo and I think sour grapes over losing the election.
Well, it's not exactly, Senator, because as you know, the FBI, now the former FBI director, he did testify under oath that he launched a criminal counterintelligence investigation into allegations of collusion or cooperation between Trump associates from the campaign and the Russians as far back as last July. And this investigation, he just reiterated the other day, is continuing. So it's not just it's not just a little bit of smoke. He says there is a formal criminal investigation underway.
But apparently he also sent 3 written notes to President Trump saying he is not a target of any investigation.
Well, that's what the president. That's what the president wrote in his letter announcing the firing of Comey. And we have the letter, and I can read it to you. The president said that he had been assured on 3 separate occasions by Comey that the president himself was not under any investigation. That's what he said. But there was no indication there that Trump associates were not under investigation, because that's at the heart of this overall FBI probe.
Well, if someone has proof, they need to come forward with it, and then we'll see which direction it goes. But I still see this as tied up in electoral politics. The Clinton people really thought they were going to win. They won the popular vote. They're still very, very unhappy. They hated the idea of Comey continuing on. They were for getting rid of him until President Trump did get rid of him. Now they're all saying it's all Watergate, even though every one of them, I mean, the hypocrisy is so thick around here you can cut it with a knife. Every one of them were for getting rid of Comey until it actually happened. Now they're
But let me ask you this, Senator. Do you agree with the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, the Director of National Intelligence, that the Russians did meddle in the U.S. elections?
I think most people have come to that consensus, and I don't have anything to dispute that. And what is the reaction to that? We need to protect ourselves. So yes, we need to know that, and we need to have set up different various cybersecurity walls to try to protect our secrets, our people, our institutions. And so yes, we know this happens all the time, and apparently it happens on all sides. Every country that has the ability to commit cyber espionage does. You know, we collected all of the phone calls in Italy in 1 month. We collected Angela Merkel's phone calls, her personal phone calls. Everybody that can spy is spying, and you got to protect yourself. And so for national defense purposes, we should learn, absolutely, we should protect ourselves.
Senator Rand Paul, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Wolf.